Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Thank you. Okay. One thing I've learned about teaching in all the years that I've taught is if you sit down for a long time, your butt goes to sleep and your brain goes to sleep. So everybody, and if you want to get out of here soon, you're going to do what I tell you. Everybody, stand up. We're going to start by singing a song from our childhood. And it has actions, so you have to move along. You ready? Everybody knows the song. The Itsy Bitsy Spider. You ready? The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Up came the sun and dried out all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again. Thank you. Okay, go ahead and have a seat. I didn't do that just because. It's actually part of my speech. The Nobel Prize winner, the Russian author Alexander Solzhenitsyn, wrote in his Nobel Prize acceptance lecture that beauty will save the world. He was actually quoting Tolstoy from War and Peace. And this idea has always intrigued me, that how beauty will save the world. So today I'm going to talk to you and kind of weave some different threads as to how this might occur, and share maybe a little teeny bit of my personal story and philosophy, and maybe we can have a little bit of fun with this too. The poet John Keats argued that truth is beauty and beauty is truth. I think that's a good place for us to start with our talk today. That truth is beauty and beauty is truth. And as we're going to find out and discover that truth, and I'm not trying to make a reference to current political alternative facts, but truth can be a different thing for different people. Briefly, Alexander Solzhenitsyn won his Nobel Prize for Literature for a book called The Gulag Archipelago. And in that, he talked about his time spent in the Soviet Gulag system. He was imprisoned because he was an intellectual. He was told that he was a danger to the state, he was a danger to his nation. What really was happening was that the people in power feared his creativity and they feared his intellectualism. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I could not find a picture of a spider in a water spout. Despite how wonderful Google is, I just could not do it. So instead I have a picture of my dog Stella. This is Stella outside in the rain. And when it rains, Stella participates in what I like to call pooping on the porch, because she won't go down out in the yard, and she looks pathetic and sad. Sometimes we can feel like Stella, especially if you're one of those people that are in the world of the arts or the world of the sciences. And I'm going to tell you that those are not all that different. We feel alone. We feel disconnected. We feel a little bit out in the rain. The reason we do is because Henry David Thoreau told us that most people live lives of quiet desperation. Why do we live lives of quiet desperation? Because we have stagnated. We seem to exist only produce and to consume. We work 40 plus hours a week so we can buy things, stuff that's not real. Therefore, it's not beauty. It's not truth. We do not need to fill the hole in ourselves that desires fulfillment, self-actualization, and beauty with things. I would like to talk today about how we lost our beauty, how the pursuit of beauty propels us forward, and how vital it is that we all create and pursue beauty and encourage our children to do the same. Just a little bit of my story. I've been involved in the arts for quite a long time now. When I first started as a child, I did not like the arts. I was fascinated. I remember my father brought home a physics textbook from somewhere. And I read it, and I was just fascinated by it. I read through it, and all the way through my high school career, I wanted desperately to be an astrophysicist. I just loved it, and I still like to read those books all the time and keep up on that world. I didn't like art. I thought there was no place for poetry. There was no place for painting. There was no place for any of that stuff. Theater was just a place where you went to meet girls, because there's a lot more girls in the theater than there are anywhere else. You're outnumbered, so your odds go up exponentially. That's kind of what I tried to do with my life. I graduated high school, and I came here to this institution, and I took a class in British literature, and I read the work of William Blake, the poet. And William Blake argued that we have fallen. And what he means by that we have fallen is we have split. Our intellect, our creativity, all the different parts of us have split and gone into different sections. I was fractured. I was a person who was living only part of my life. It was a denial of the arts, and it was ill-conceived. I had split my intellect from my creativity. I was denying myself the pursuit of beauty. We are fractured. We buy into a culture that tells us that we are good or gifted or blessed at some things, and that we are cursed and doomed to perform poorly at others. We believe this. We accept it. At a young age, we accept that a propensity for art or math or science or music is a gift bestowed upon us. This is not right. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you take a child in the second grade and they do that thing 50 in a minute, where they have to do 50 math equations in a minute and they get a candy bar or something, right? And there's the kid that just can't get it. And when the teacher says, "You're just not good at math. You're a right-brained person." Or the parents say, "I wasn't very good at math either, so it's okay." What does that child do? They stop practicing math. If they're not good at English, they're not good at writing, and they're told it's okay, you're a left-brained person, what do? They stop practicing that. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you practice what you're good at, and you lay aside what you're not. And then suddenly, you're 40 years old, and you are left-brained, or you are right-brained, and you have let society tell you what you're going to use your brain for. When I graduated from college, my undergraduate degree, my senior seminar, I wrote my paper on the fact that science and art are the exact same thing. We have got to put ourselves back together. We are told we are fractured, but beauty may be denied us based on that. But we are the only ones that can put ourselves back together. If we do not, we stagnate, and stagnation is death. So how do we pursue beauty? How does beauty propel us forward? How can we get involved in this? I really thought about not doing this, but I'm going to. I'm going to drop some philosophy on you. There's a concept called the Hegelian Dialectic. Dan, I wish you could have had the echo there. Boom, boom, right? It sounds like it's really, really complicated, but it's not. Basically what it says is in any given situation, any system, we have a thesis or a status quo. This is the way we do things. And then somebody, an extremist, an outlier, an artist, a scientist, a statesman, a politician, somebody, the average person, comes up with a different idea. Let's do it this way. And then we fight, and we have conflict. And eventually those two things converge, and we form a synthesis. That synthesis becomes the new thesis, the new status quo. Then somebody has a different idea. And then they fight it out again, and then we move forward. When we do not pursue beauty, when we do not pursue the elegant mathematical or scientific equation, when we don't write poetry, when we don't create, we stop this process. I was told if you stay in the red circle, everything will be okay. This is our thesis. Everything here is okay. It's okay over here. This is the antithesis, and that's the thesis. And we need to push those together so that we can develop a new synthesis. That is why beauty is so important. Copernicus, when he said, you know what? Maybe the earth revolves around the sun. That was an extreme idea. When Einstein said, maybe physical truth isn't the same for everybody in the universe, but it depends on where you are and what you're doing and how fast you're traveling. That was an extreme idea. And those things were fought and battled over, and they propelled us and moved us forward. As creators, we are the spider climbing the water spout. We are Stella trying to come in out of the rain. How does the pursuit of beauty compel us forward? It lies in the very fact that beauty is unachievable, but we infinitely strive for it. Poets search for the perfect words in the perfect order. Scientists strive for a grand unified theory. This makes us human. This makes us self-aware. This makes us no longer animals. Everybody close your eyes for a second. Go back to kindergarten. Remember when you close your eyes, you put your head on your desk? And imagine what I'm telling you. I want to get you to get in your brain the picture of a dog. Now I want you to get in your brain the picture of a black dog. How many of you had to change your picture? Okay. Now I want you to get in your brain the picture of a black dog with 3 legs. A black dog with 3 legs, half a tail, 1 brown eye, and 1 blue eye. How many of you had to change your picture from the very first words? What we just did was art. I had an idea in my head. I had a picture, an experience. I used words to try to get you as close as you could possibly get to my experience. But you know what? You're never going to get there. You didn't grow up and spend time on a farm north of Shoshone where you saw this dog chasing sheep. Okay? So you're not going to have that experience. But you're going to have a piece of it. And you're going to bring your own experience to that. And your dog's going to look just a little bit different than my dog. We're moving forward. You are never, ever going to achieve that perfection. When you write a mathematical equation, if I were to grab this clicker and throw it at RD, force equals mass times acceleration. We can figure all that out, how it's going to hit RD, what he's going to do, or he's going to jump up here and thump me or whatever. But that equation is not the thing. It's a poem. It's a painting. It's a symphony. It is a symbol of what we observe in the universe. It is our attempt to find truth. Shelley writes that the flower that smiles today, tomorrow dies. Although we wish to stay, tempts and then flies. The second law of thermodynamics, entropy. In any closed system, unless energy is infused, it will deteriorate. The universe seeks entropy. We have to infuse our systems with energy. If we let them tell us to be quiet, to sit down, to not create, to work our little workaday jobs and buy our trucks and buy our iPhones, we are stagnating. We are dying. Stagnation is death. Change is life. The act of creation, the pursuit of beauty, is the imposition of change into our closed system. The very inevitability to achieve the perfection or elegance we strive for. Nature shows us this. Every moment of beauty we find in the universe around us is a brief respite in the chaos. And our attempts at poetry and music and art and equations and computer models and theories are an attempt to halt that entropy, to preserve life through the act of creation. It is never more important to do this than now. Here are some of my attempts to stop the chaos, to halt entropy, to bring order, to infuse our system with energy. Yeats tells us that things fall apart. The center cannot hold. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. We have to flip that. When the best of us, the artists and the poets and the musicians and the scientists, fail to create, we lose our conviction and passion, and things fall apart. When we wish to return to a past that did not really exist, we stagnate and die. We give our power to those who have blind and selfish ambition. We relinquish our will to those who do not pursue beauty, but who pursue only power and wealth. We lie down and we fall into entropy. Last year, the National Endowment for the Arts spent $146 million in this country to preserve the arts. 0.025% of our non-self-defense discretionary budget. Every taxpayer in America last year paid 46 cents for the arts. And we're being told that we need to get rid of that because it will balance the budget. This is dangerous. This is frightening. Instead of being creators and poets and scientists and statesmen, they want us to be consumers. We have to fight this. When education becomes a factory creating mindless automatons to fuel the terrible and tyrannical they have manufactured to control us, we stagnate and die. When we remove beauty and elegance from our lives and the lives of our children under the misguided precept that it won't make them employable, really? Creativity won't make you an employable person? We stagnate and die. When we remove or kill the other, the foreign, out of misguided fear created by those wishing to control us, when we deny inclusion and education to that other, we remove energy from our system. We lose their creativity, we stagnate and die. It is time for the poets to write, it is time for the painters to paint, the scientists to find the elegance and beauty in the universe. We must encourage our children to pursue beauty, to put down their tablets and phones and climb the spout. To survive, we must teach them beauty and elegance. It's our turn. Be creative, be passionate, be beautiful, fight entropy, be human, and save the world.